Goed dat je luistert naar een nieuwe aflevering van Paul de Vries vanuit de podcaststudio in Ede met de missie de online automotive beter te maken. Dit doet Paul met de volgende partners met dezelfde missie: Marktplaats, Coldrip, Carmen Automotive BDC, Vindio, Used Car Controller en tweedehands.be.
Hockey, I used to be a hockey player, and that's why I've got a limp, that and a runner. And I loved Wayne Gretzky. I met him several times, and he coined the phrase, "I don't skate to where the puck is, I skate to where the puck is going to be." And he used to famously watch a hockey game when he was a kid, and he would trace where the puck was. On this, he'd have a piece of paper that was the shape of a rink, and he'd just trace where the puck is. And his father said he would do it game after game, and I've got thousands of these. And he watched the patterns, and he knew from watching the patterns where the puck was going to be. And I think there's a great story there too. All of us are charged with anticipating where the puck is going. Where is the industry going? Where do you think it's going? And how can you position your dealership to meet that demand? And we went to a meeting in 2017. It was given by McKinsey. And they're a data company with no horse in the race. They gave us some great insights. They showed us in 2030, they thought, and this is 2017, in 2030 they think our profit, the contribution to the bottom line in the future is going to be dominated by maintenance and service, collision parts, and tires. Now, of course, we were in the tire business. Of course, we were in the body shop business. But they said it's going to be dominated. And they said F&I income was going to be reduced. New car franchise income was going to be reduced. And at the time, I'm making crazy money in those departments. I'm saying, can't be. But I try to, when I go to these meetings, keep an open mind. And I said to my service manager, I said, Anthony, I think tires are going to be where it's at. Let's get into the tire business. And he said, well, we're in the tire business. I said, how many sets do you have in stock? About 100. I said, you're not in the tire business. Let's get in the tire business. And we got in the tire business. That's it. That's Anthony. And he sent me that picture. Now what? I said, now sell them, man. Sell them. And you know, the wolf at the door is a great motivator, right? And we started selling tires like never before. All of a sudden we had the tires, and all of a sudden the demand went up. And it's like that old saying, the target attracts the arrow. The target attracts the arrow. So if you have these, you'll attract the business to it because you've got some motivation. And the crazy thing, and we all know this as car people, we all know that when you sell tires, you get all the work above that, right? You get the suspension work, you get the brakes, the calipers, because people don't just put tires on. They need tires because something's not right above that, the alignment or the suspension or the brakes or all of the above, and you get a lot of that business. And then something else came to me because I figure this stuff out. If it's diesel, it's going to run on tires. If it's gasoline, it's going to run on tires. If it's electric, it's going to run on tires. So that's a pretty good place to start putting some interest in. And you're going to get that other business as well. The next place was collision. We set up a separate collision website. We thought we were in the body shop business. If you brought me your damaged car, we fixed it. Now we're going after all the other business that we were missing, and the business is tremendous. And by doing this online and making it available online, we're saving the customers time. We're getting a lot more of the business that we never had. And who knew what it was going to turn into? And we'll share with you what it turned into. But this is Google now as of January of 2021. All of those areas that were predicted to go up by 2030 have already started their climb. And this is pre-COVID. All of them have had substantial. This isn't for my store. This is for the nation. My store's numbers look very different because we really got out there ahead of it. People are concerned about electrification and loss of revenue in service. In America, the service and parts business is $800 billion industry. The dealers are getting 20% of that. We're missing fully 80% of that business. And we said, why is that? So instead of me going after the other Honda dealer, where is that business? Why am I losing that business? And then we did a simple test. We went into the computer and we said, oil change near me. And I had my service manager, my marketing team, my sales manager, and I said, oil change near me. And not one Honda dealer came up, and we didn't come up. And my marketing director said, boss, no, you got to if you put in Honda oil change near me, we'll come up. I said, that's not what they do. They put restaurant near me. They don't put Phil's Italian restaurant near me. They put oil change near me, and we didn't come up. We're not even in the game, but all the independents are. Pep Boys, Big O Tires, Firestone. Isn't it interesting? Oil change and the tire companies are coming up. They know if they do that little oil change, they're going to get all that other heavy work at the same time. So what do we do with that? This is a map of New York City and the 5 boroughs. This is Manhattan. This is our dealership. And these are who I thought the competitors were, the 5 other dealerships in this particular market. And we did a pretty good job against them in terms of service, and our service numbers were better than they were, and our service bays were full, and I thought, we're doing a job. We're doing a really good job against them. And then we realized, who are the other competitors in the market that we may be missing? Where are the independents? And we took a look at the independents, and that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. And this is an underrepresentation. There are 17,000 independent service representatives in the area you can see right here. 17,000. It's a number, it's unthinkable. And so, are these 6 dealers my real concern, or is it the 17,000? And how do we compete? How do we compete with these guys? Well, we asked ourselves a kind of a simple question. This is Manhattan, and there was a Honda dealership in Manhattan, and they went out of business. You know, they didn't have a digital footprint. They were 4 miles away from us. They were selling about 1,200 cars a year. We were 4 miles away from them selling 10,000 cars a year, because they didn't know the digital game. And they thought that because they were on the island of Manhattan and there's a couple million people there, that they were going to get all the business. But when you Google them, they didn't exist. So we were getting more sales out of Manhattan than they were getting, because they were blind as far as the customers were concerned. And Honda was going to put another dealership right about here. And we said to Honda, do us a favor, don't put a dealership there. Give me an opportunity to service the area without you putting in a Honda dealership. And if you give me that opportunity and I do the job, you don't put a dealership there. If I don't do the job, I'll waive my rights under the radius law, and you can put another dealership there. And the radius law is, if a dealership's closed for 2 years in that market, Honda can't open up another point without my permission. I said, I'll waive my rights if you give me an opportunity. And then we set out to try and figure out how we can service the market. And we asked ourselves a simple question. We said, if Starbucks had to figure out where to put a Starbucks in New York City, where would they put one? And the answer is simple if you've ever been to New York City. On every corner. On every single corner. So we asked, how can we put a Starbucks on every single corner? And I came up with these harebrained ideas, like we'd have 4 garages, and the customers could drop their cars off at the garage, and we'd have a truck every day pick up the cars, service them, and drop them back off. And it was a harebrained idea, but it led us to a decent idea. And the idea for us was to put our hats on and say, what would Jeff Bezos do? What would Jeff Bezos do? And we said, he would deliver it directly to the customers, but it's service. Well, then he'd pick up the cars directly for the customers. And we said, so what if we picked up the customers' cars, serviced them, and brought them back to them? And everyone said, okay, that's a good idea. And we advertised. We're the only dealership in the area that does pick up and delivery. Oh, that's great, boss. And then we said, what do we charge? And so we had everybody in the room. We had my parts manager, my service manager, my F&I team, and the finance manager said, what do we charge? $19.95. It's a package. And when you buy a car from us, we sell it to you for $19.95. And I said, okay, that's great. And I asked the service manager, and he said, we charge sales $100 a car. Why sales? Well, because they're going to get the benefit of repeat customers. I said, okay, that's good. And then we had this imaginary guy in the room, Jeff Bezos. And we asked Jeff. And Jeff said, I think we should do it for free. We should pick up the car for free, service it, put it back, and not charge the customer. And that way we can capture the market, and we can have a sustainable competitive advantage. And so we said, okay, Jeff, you win. And we decided we're going to try pick up and delivery for free in this market. And we decided that in March of 2017. And this is an actual representation of what it looks like. The green dots represent repeat customers.
Steeds meer collega's gebruiken Used Car Controller. Taxeren, calculeren, publiceren of auto's verhandelen met je persoonlijke handelsplatform? Met 1 abonnement geeft Used Car Controller je controle over alle kritische gebruikte autoprocessen. Zo maakt Used Car Controller je tot sterkste in je vak. Vindio is de merkonafhankelijke automotive partner. Vindio is er voor uw klanten en u. Zo kunt u zorgeloos ondernemen en uw rendement verbeteren. Uw online leads opvolgen binnen 30 seconden? Dat kan met CallDrip. Vraag direct een demo aan.
Wow, there was something to it. Initially, if you notice, we were just trying to concentrate on Manhattan, and then somebody would call from Queens, and we'd say, well, why not? They're close. Why not make it easy for them to do business? And keep in mind that map with the red dots with the competitors on it. And we really try not to do service over here. And I know those of you that are going to say, well, does it make any sense from Maplewood, New Jersey to do an oil change? You have to cross 2 bridges. There's probably $20 in tolls to do that. And the answer is, I don't know. I don't want to micromanage that division. And I always tell people, this is what's most impressive to me. See this little island over here? We've got a couple of repeat customers. The unique thing about that island, it's Rikers Island. It's a prison. So it's a prison. So someone's giving us their business on the prison, and the numbers we thought were pretty impressive there, and some good math behind this too. But before we get to that, we decided to put on the cell phone the entire transaction and not require the customer to have an app. You've all got too many apps on your phone as it is. And what we did is we used Uber, and we said, okay, so they can contact us online. And when you go on our website, it gives you 2 choices. Are you coming to us, or are we going to you? And many of the customers said, okay, you're going to come to me? Do that. And when they click there, then they got when do you want to set your appointment for? And it looks very much like an Uber app, right? Here's your driver, here's the distance, and here's when we can come. Then we text you, driver's on the way, he'll be there in 10 minutes. Then we text you again, your driver's just picked up your car. Then we text you, the car's back at the dealership. Then we text you again, the car's up on the lift. Now you might say, too many texts! These texts do not require a response back, right? So it's just informing you what's going on. So customers like that. The other thing that we were able to do, and my manager thought I was crazy, Paul wants more phone calls. Paul wants more phone calls. We were getting 9,000 calls a month. And I got that down to 3,000. And I was damn proud of that. 3,000. And so my teams go, oh no. I go, oh yes. Who here has Google's phone number? 1-800-GOOGLE? There ain't none. You don't have Google's phone number. I'm on the dealer advisory board. I don't have the number. They don't have a number. Who has Amazon's phone number? They don't have one. They've solved all the customer problems without the need to call. And so we tried to build that, and in doing that, we cut out 6,000 phone calls a month. Have you ever, does it work like this in Belgium? When you call a service department? Service, please hold. Because that's how it is in New York. Service, please hold. For parts, it's parts, hang on. Parts, please hold. Because they're always busy. And that interruption costs us a fortune as a service advisor is trying to sell a customer and forced to be the receptionist and forced to set the appointments and forced to set the status. We eliminate all that. So we've got a tremendous amount of text going out and just a few coming back. And then we say, hey, here's your car. Here's a picture of your brakes. They're really skinny. Here's a picture of new brakes. They're really fat. You've got 5 children. Want to buy brakes? And the customer says, sure. We got to figure out a way to pay. We got a pay app. We merged that in where the customer could get the estimate, approve. Then we took a page out of Jeff Bezos' book. When you approve, you get another text that says, people that buy this also buy that. And the customer said, okay. Because they've been trained. They can sign right on their phone. Again, no app. Approve. And the car gets sent back to them. The car's on its way back to you. And we sort of streamlined that. And it looks like this today. It shows that we're on our way. It shows a picture of the driver. It shows your car. And it gives you an estimate of the time that we're going to be there. And by bringing the dealership to the customer, we gave shared control of the process to the customers. We gave convenience, control. And the most important thing is we gave free time. to the customer. And time is more valuable than money. But the one thing we didn't count on is this. We had a 12% increase in retention. We believed we were going to get more retention. The gross profit after the expense of free pickup and delivery went up by 50%. In fact, the average repair order doubled. And when we told that to Honda initially, I went in there and said, look at this! The ROs, they've doubled! The parts sales have doubled! Honda said, that's only because you were selling in those markets that were lapsed markets. Those people hadn't serviced in a while, and that's why it's doubled. The next year, it's still doubled! There's still customers. The next year, it's still doubled! We need to take a look at this. The number of pickup and deliveries we've done since 2017 is 150,000. And it's generated, this is labor only, $359,000 in labor times 150,000, $53 million in profit without the customers coming to the dealership, without the need for them to come to the dealership. And I couldn't have all those people come to the dealership. We didn't have the capacity for it. And something else we did, we want to be like Amazon, and I don't want to add expense to the dealership. We have 19 lifts. And somebody gave me a phrase many years ago, you've got to murder your real estate. You've got to murder the space. You've got to use it, beat it up like an old rag doll. You've got to murder the space. So we opened up the dealership 3 days a week, 24 hours for service. And it took us about 6 months before that was packed. And we opened it up 4 days a week, 24 hours. And then that got filled up. Now we're open 5 days a week, 24 hours. And the only reason we're closed 2 days, we got to clean the shop. It's getting messy back there. And so we increased the capacity of the dealership substantially. And so I went to this guy with this idea. And does anyone know who Gary Vaynerchuk is? Oh, sorry. He's an American. And he is the largest person in social media in our country. He's written many books, and one of his goals is to buy the New York Jets football team. Why he wants to buy the Jets, I don't know. It's the worst football team in the United States. But when I went to him, and to get an appointment with him, it took me 70 emails, 2 Federal Expresses, and the CEO of the largest newspaper in New York, contacting him personally to get a meeting with him. And I got the meeting with him, and I started explaining to him my idea, my vision. I said, I need your help. I want you to promote this for us. And he said, yeah, big deal. He curses, big effing deal. You're delivering something in New York, who cares? And I was a little bit dejected because it took me a long time to get to me. He goes, no, I love you, I love the idea, I love the story. Here's how you make the story stick. I'm a Jets fan. Service my car. Bring the car back to me and have a Jets hat on the seat with a little note. Hey, Gary, this is going to be our year. And he goes, when you do that, you effing own me. That's what you want to do. You want to own me. And I'm like, and I said, but how do you do that? He goes, we've never known more about our customers. Just Google the customer. Put a note, put something that's personalized for the customer. It's inexpensive to do. And there's a guy, Andy Frisella, who sells, he's a motivational speaker in the U.S., and he sells protein powder and workout routines. And I'm kind of following Andy, and I bought some T-shirts. And I bought a couple of children's books that he had for my daughter Clementine, and I ordered them. And 2 days later, box comes, and I open up the box, and it says, "Congratulations, Brian! No wonder you're number one." Okay, it's on a piece of paper on the top of it written. And I open up the products, and I take the product out, and there's a note in there. It says, "Brian, congratulations on joining our team. I think you're going to really enjoy the protein powder, and your beautiful daughter Clementine should get a lot out of reading the books. Thank you for everything you do for your industry. Signed, Andy." The purchase was for $350, and that guy owned me for $300. And I'm like, how does he know my daughter's name is Clementine? They looked me up, and on my Instagram page, I've got thousands of pictures of my daughter Clementine. It was a little creepy, but not too creepy. And it was meaningful. And let me contrast something that happened the same week. I promised my wife when we got married that when I paid off the house, I was going to get her a Bentley. She wanted a Bentley. I said, I'll get you a Bentley. And when I made the mistake of bragging to her, babe, I paid off the house. And I swear to God, this is 20 years later. She went, where's my Bentley? Oh, babe, back then it was $150,000. Today it's she goes, where's my Bentley? So I you make a deal, you make a deal. And I got her. If you want to sleep at night, you make the deal. I purchased a Bentley for my wife, and she got the car. And she got the car. I didn't get a postcard. I didn't get a text. I didn't get a thank you. I didn't get anything from the dealership. So here it is. One purchase is $400, and the other one is a couple $100,000. And now, do you not think that the impact of Andy Forcella's writing me a letter, personalized, when I bought $400 worth of made the Bentley experience terrible? The Bentley was fantastic. It was delivered in flawless condition, and the delivery went smoothly. But I looked at those people and said, I'll never buy something else again from you. I wanted her to feel special. She should have gotten flowers and something else from that salesperson, that sales team. I negotiated, but not a great price for it, and made the experience that I had with the dealer not as good as the experience I had with the other company. What's going on now? COVID has changed everything. COVID has advanced digital retailing by 5 to 10 years. The manufacturers are all over it. Manufacturers love the fact that they don't have to have incentives to sell all of their cars. The cars aren't sitting on their inventories. The cars aren't sitting on our inventories. The manufacturers are taking a look at our profit and they say, hey, we want some of that. This gentleman is the CEO of Volvo, and he says, it's very clear there's some misunderstanding out there. I don't understand why everyone's so suspicious. We're trying to develop the brand faster than our competitors. I don't, why are the dealers in Virginia complaining? Because you're trying to develop this without us. I thought we were partners. You've got Ford wants to compete with Tesla, but the dealers are getting in the way. Wait, I didn't know we're the impediment. You guys are making bad products for so long. You guys are the impediment. Now you're saying it to us? And Tesla is shattering sales records during a global chip shortage. And so, things are changing. What franchise agreement? We had franchise agreements in the United States, and my dealer friends, when I went back from Spain, I said, guys, the British are coming, the manufacturers are taking over. And they said, Benstock, relax. We have franchise laws here that are going to protect us. I said, I don't think so, man. Mercedes-Benz in Germany is the same as Mercedes-Benz in the United States. I don't think so. And he said, no, we're good. But now we're starting to see what's happening. Volkswagen confirms the Scout line will be independently run brand selling EV trucks. SUVs in the United States sell more than cars. And Volkswagen says, we're going to produce great SUVs. You're just not going to participate in that because it's going to be very separate. It's going to be a separate franchise agreement. And they're bifurcating the ICE franchise agreement from the EV franchise agreement, thanks to Mr. Musk. And they're able to rewrite the rules. And I'm not, again, the gentleman from the factory, I'm not saying they're wrong. I just think we dealers need to understand what's going on and the potential implications of that. So now, this is today what a dealership looks like. And in our country, I'm saying to my team, it's going to be very hard for the factories to resist this. This is what's in it for the factory, right? I always want to figure out with them what's in it for the factory. And direct customer insights the factory feels they're going to get from selling cars directly to the consumer. Right now we're in the way, and they can get those insights. They think that we are not going to haggle back and forth, and they think that's going to be greater income for the manufacturer since there won't be intra-brand competition. The seamless omni-channel journey, I think that's true. We have a factory websites in the United States, we have dealer websites in the United States, and sometimes they're at odds, so we'd have one single way of purchasing a car. I think that's probably a good thing. They feel that there's a premium brand experience through fixed prices. They think that haggling is something that we created. When was the last time you wanted the customer to negotiate with you? I don't want the customers to negotiate. Those customers created that, but they think that there won't be any haggling. They think they'll be shielded from other online platforms. I'm not quite sure how. And for every 1 to 3% cost savings for the manufacturer, it'll give them an additional $1 billion. So they've got a real vested interest in reinventing the game. And they think once they have this business model set up, they can scale it, right, to different markets and not have competition And I don't know how you eliminate competition. I'm not sure that they can do that. This model that they're creating, they're saying, well, here's the wholesale model. This is the model we have now. And who closes the contract? The dealer, right? Who sets the price? The dealer and the OEM. The dealer is free to negotiate, but the OEM sets the ultimate price. Who handles the invoicing? We do. Who handles the assets? Who owns the assets? We do. And who covers the cost? We do. In the future, they want it to be who handles the contract? The OEM. Who sets the price? The OEM. Who handles the invoicing? The OEM. Who owns the assets? The OEM. Who covers the cost? Hey, our friends the dealers and us. And by the way, this is coming from an independent study of people that interviewed the OEMs. So today, I think the dealership of the future becomes the distributorship of the future. And we need to pivot, and we can't work against the OEM. That's not what I'm here talking about. You've got to work with them. And I think very much like what happened with cell phones can happen for us. Today, more pictures will be taken with a cell phone than were taken in the entire history of film photography. Today, more pictures will be taken than in the entire history of film photography. It's almost impossible to get your head around, right? That more people are going to do it. Why is that? Because I've got complete control of the process. I can take out my phone, I can zoom out, and I can take a picture. And there's no processing. It's done. They made it easy. And I can send it to my wife back home and say, having a good time. That's distribution. And what if we can recapture some of that? Is it possible, by looking at ourselves as a distributorship, that we can have access to bigger markets, and that we can have more customers, and that we can actually sell more customers than we ever dreamed of, rather than relying on customers having to come to us? And I think it is. I think it is. And I think we sort of proved that with the ability to do pickup and delivery for service. If you make it easy for people to do business, they'll do more business. If you make it easy for people to take pictures and develop them, they'll take more pictures and develop them. If you put control, the camera, in more people's hands, more people will do business with you. And so what if we put the dealership on the phone, and we made it easy for people to do business with us? And there's no haggling, no BS, no flim-flam, but made it easy. Possibly. They call that the smile across America. The role of the dealer is being redefined. You've got 1.3 million BEVs were sold in China in 2021. Nearly 2 million were sold last year. You've got 500 EVs in plan, chasing 3.9%, 3 to 9% market share. So there's going to be a lot of infighting there. That should be interesting. 1 in 4 vehicles launched in the next 4 years will be electric. Right now there are 34 in the U.S. market. There'll be 62 by the end of the year. That's doubling. And 158 by 2025. That's nameplates. Who here has a Nokia phone? Nobody. That's interesting. Forbes magazine cover. Nokia, 1 billion customers. Can anyone catch the cell phone king? Funny thing happened in 2007. The iPhone was released. And I just asked these questions that caused me a lot of sleepless nights. Could this happen to us? We're worried about the OEM. The OEM's worried about us. And I don't hear anyone talking about this. The Apple car, the iCar. I don't know what it's going to cost. I don't know what it's going to look like. I want one because I'm trained. How will they advertise it? They're going to push your notification right here. And when you get your new iPhone, it's going to say, hey, by the way, with your new iPhone, you can get a discount on the new iCar. And this is a college professor of mine. His name is Professor Scott Galloway. I really recommend you follow him on YouTube. He's real good at telling you what's going to happen in the future. And here he's talking about Apple.
Chart of the week. Apple's road to $2 trillion. The rise of Apple is one of the most remarkable stories in business history. In 1980, the company went public at a valuation of, get this, less than $2 billion. All it had to its name was a 25-pound computer that looked like a microwave. Over the next 3 decades, however, Apple expanded its offerings and its value grew steadily. In 2002, the iPod launched. Then came the MacBook in 2006, and you guessed it, in 2007, the iPhone. The company was worth less than $100 billion at that time, but when Tim Cook took over, Apple transitioned into a period of unprecedented growth. And in 2018, it became the first trillion-dollar company. It took Apple 42 years to reach a $1 trillion valuation. However, it took just an additional 2 years to get to $2 trillion in value. Today, at $2.5 trillion, Apple's market cap is roughly equal to every unicorn in the world combined. And what can we expect moving forward as they go after the automobile market and when people wake up and realize that the metaverse is in fact the App Store? $3 trillion.
Dank u wel voor het luisteren naar de DCDW-podcast van Paul de Vries met de missie om de online automotive beter te maken. Vond u deze podcast interessant? Abonneer dan meteen via Spotify, Soundcloud of iTunes en deel deze podcast via LinkedIn met uw netwerk. De DCDW-podcast van Paul de Vries wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door de volgende partners: Marktplaats, Coldrip, Carmen Automotive BDC, Vindio, Used Car Controller en tweedehands.be.